Hi, my name is 𝗄𝗂, and I want to talk to you about ESG and in particular, the decarbonisation of the manufacturing process and some of the specific elements of that and some of the approaches on how to reduce, to recycle and to reuse so that we ultimately leave a lighter footprint on the planet. Now, from a manufacturing perspective, what we've been seeing in response to ESG is an engineering-based approach that minimizes the amount of part utilization that goes into the creation of a new product. So if I take an example like Pure Storage, we have been on a process for the last number of years where we optimize and consolidate the amount of parts that we rely on across our range of offerings. So what this means is that we have vastly reduced the reliance on a multitude of specific and individual component pieces. And it brings two really big benefits for us. The first benefit is that we've been able to improve the supply chain and in particular the lead times. Of course, this is something very significant with supply chains under so much pressure at the moment. But what it also means is that we have vastly reduced the amount of carbon footprint and decarbonized a lot of the logistics and back-end supply because we rely on less suppliers, we rely on less parts, and we reuse and revitalize the range across all Pure Storage offerings. And this is an engineering process. It costs us a lot of engineering cycles that is incredibly worthwhile and something that we're going to continue with. Now, there's another part of this decarbonisation process that I'm talking about. And in particular, it's about the reuse and recycling element. And what's significant here is considering the life cycle of the infrastructure in this case, and what it means from the moment that the piece of infrastructure hits a customer's data center to the moment that it leaves. And one of the significant changes that can be made is to rethink the way that systems are required. Traditionally, and even up to today, many systems, many big hardware purchases inside a data center require something called a forklift upgrade. And what this means is that every 4 years or 5 years, depending on how long you want to sweat that asset, you essentially need to rip and replace all of that equipment. Now, if you think about it, that means that you need to remanufacture and replace everything that's been sitting on that data center floor. It also means that you've got a waste issue and a recycling issue at the other side of that. So another approach that can be taken is something called an evergreen model. And this is where you keep infrastructure in a constant state of tune. So if we take another example, and I'll look at my own organization for this, which is Pure, we have an evergreen model which is really built on an engineering foundation that enables a customer to be able to make a single acquisition. And once a single acquisition is made, then through this evergreen program, the system is kept in a constant state of tune, but it never really changes. Sure, we update elements and we add more capacity or storage and we refresh certain elements, but by and large, that chassis and that system will always be the same. It will always be the original system that's installed. And what this means is it fundamentally reduces that carbon footprint, and in particular, the end of the life cycle and that recycling element. An interesting statistic, more than 90% of all Pure Storage systems ever shipped are still in production today. And that is because of this evergreen model. So we know it really works, and we know it allows us to keep a much lighter footstep on the planet in the process.